The summer of 2025 has seen President Trump launch a bold, high-stakes economic offensive. His administration's new tariffs, up to 250%, target not just rivals like China, but also allies such as Canada and Mexico. The goal forced global trade partners to change their practices and bring manufacturing jobs back to the U.S. Trump's aggressive approach extends beyond economics. He's quick to challenge any criticism, demanding loyalty and swift action from his team. He's called for the resignation of Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell, and even repositioned U.S. nuclear submarines after criticism from a Russian ally. The administration's centerpiece is the proposed Mar-a-Lago Accord, aiming to devalue the dollar and make U.S. exports more competitive. Allies are pressured to sell off dollar reserves in exchange for continued access to U.S. markets and security guarantees. Treasury Secretary nominee Scott Bessent's 333 plan targets 3% growth, a 3% deficit, and a surge in domestic energy. But the methods, tariffs, currency moves, and confrontations, are fueling global uncertainty. The world is watching. Will this gamble reshape the global order or spark instability? Trump's America First philosophy is now more forceful than ever. The administration's willingness to use every tool at its disposal is leaving little room for dissent. Critics warn that these tactics risk isolating the U.S. and damaging alliances. Supporters argue only bold action can reverse decades of perceived economic decline. The stakes are enormous, and the outcome remains uncertain. As summer unfolds, the nation stands at a crossroads, with the world's eyes fixed on Washington. President Trump's intolerance for dissent has led to unprecedented firings and public feuds. After a disappointing July jobs report, he dismissed the chief of the Bureau of Labor Statistics, punishing the messenger instead of addressing the data. This move sent shockwaves through Washington, signaling that unfavorable news would not be tolerated. Trump's clashes extend to Congress, where he's rebuked Republican senators and told Democratic leader Chuck Schumer to go to hell for defying his demands. The president's willingness to bypass norms and attack both allies and opponents has deepened political divisions. He's also launched investigations into former officials, using government power to settle scores. Congressional response has been muted. Most Republicans fear retribution and remain silent. Traditional checks and balances are weakening as Trump tests the limits of executive authority. Critics warn this pattern erodes the independence of government institutions. The long-term impact on the balance of power in Washington is a growing concern. The U.S. economy in summer 2025 is at a tipping point. Despite promises to revive manufacturing, job growth remains sluggish, especially in key sectors. New tariffs target major trading partners and even penalize countries buying Venezuelan oil. Economists warn these aggressive moves could trigger a global trade war and rising prices at home. Retailers predict higher costs for everything from electronics to groceries, fueling inflation fears. Public trust in Trump's economic leadership is slipping, with polls showing growing anxiety. The administration projects confidence, but Americans are increasingly worried about their financial future. The stakes: will Trump's gamble deliver prosperity or deepen economic pain? The answer will shape both his legacy and the lives of millions. The firing of the Bureau of Labor Statistics chief has sparked fears of politicized data. The BLS, once a trusted source, now faces pressure to deliver only good news. Trump's repeated claims of rigged numbers have created a climate of fear within government agencies. If official data becomes suspect, markets and the public lose their ability to make informed decisions. This uncertainty can trigger market volatility and undermine economic stability. The erosion of trust in institutions like the BLS and Federal Reserve threatens democracy itself. When facts are dictated by politics, accountability vanishes. Even some Republicans and watchdogs are alarmed by this trend. The risk: a future where truth is determined by loyalty, not evidence. The consequences for American democracy could be profound. The Republican Party is caught between loyalty to Trump and growing private unease. Most GOP lawmakers avoid public criticism, fearing backlash from Trump's base. Behind closed doors, concerns mount over trade wars and attacks on independent institutions. A few, like Senator Cynthia Lummis, back Trump's tough trade stance, arguing bold action is needed. But polls show public skepticism. Confidence in Trump's economic leadership is falling. The party's silence highlights Trump's grip and the risks of crossing him. The disconnect between public anxiety and official support creates a volatile political climate. As consequences mount, the GOP's internal divisions may soon spill into the open. The new tariffs set for August will hit Americans where it hurts most, their wallets. prices for everyday goods, clothing, electronics, groceries, are expected to rise sharply. Retailers warn they'll have to pass costs to consumers, straining household budgets. Inflation looms, threatening to erode savings and wages. The Federal Reserve may be forced to raise interest rates, making loans and mortgages more expensive. Businesses reliant on imports face higher costs, risking layoffs and reduced competitiveness. Retaliatory tariffs from other countries could hurt U.S. exporters, especially farmers. Public anxiety is growing as economic uncertainty and political drama collide. The promise of prosperity is being tested by the reality of rising costs and global tensions. Americans are left wondering if this high-risk strategy will pay off or backfire. Beyond economics, unresolved controversies haunt the Trump administration. Ghislaine Maxwell's transfer to a lower security prison and talk of a possible pardon have fueled speculation and concern. Questions about classified documents at Mar-a-Lago and new investigations into former officials raise alarms about the use of power for personal ends. Critics warn these actions undermine the rule of law and public trust in justice. The sense that accountability is slipping threatens the core principles of American democracy. As turmoil grows, the resilience of checks and balances is being tested. The choices made now will shape the nation's future. The question remains, can American democracy withstand this era of unprecedented challenge?